Shock the system. How do we do this? Alright. Swollen eye. Noon on a Saturday. But I don't care. I do not care. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? There's a good reason why I don't care. It's 'cause Saturdays are meant for chaos. Saturdays are meant for hostile activity. Saturdays are meant for the itty-gritty. Saturdays are meant for authenticity, but most of all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Saturdays are meant for Saturday afternoons, main events. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome. Of course, if you do not know who I am, I suggest you go ahead and go back to school, find the biggest dictionary you can find in your library, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the phenomenal one, and of course, here on Saturday afternoon's main event, I'm not joined alone because, of course, joined by my side is the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, give me 2 claps and a peep snatch.
Woo! Yes.
There we go.
We are here, and of course, Saturday is the pick of the week. I had to get that in there. I was ready.
Zing. There we go, peeps.
Yes.
Glad to have you on board today, man. Glad to have you on board.
Yes. Likewise.
Most definitely. But of course, guys, thank you for going ahead and tuning in. I know you might be watching on either YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And you go ahead, if you don't know to follow us for any other social media or news updates, all you have to do is just go ahead and follow us right there down below on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons _main event or on Twitter at Saturday Main. But of course, we won't go ahead and stay here for long. We're going to go ahead and get right into today's news. And of course, there's only one way to do it here on Saturday Afternoons Main Event. And that is through Fast Track. Now, of course, there's only one way to go ahead and get into it. You hear it. I hear it, peeps. Most definitely. Let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? Most definitely. Most definitely. First one of the day. Gunther and Xavier Woods tore it down. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did not watch Friday Night SmackDown this past Friday night, of course, you wouldn't know that they literally put on the best TV match of all. Peeps, what did you think about this whole match?
I never have doubts when it comes to Walter. And I got to put it in there. But I never have doubts to when I know he's going to be on the show and he's going to wrestle. Heck, even his promos give you chops. So, hey, I got to say, if I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch a match, he has to be in it. And they got Xavier Woods, who hasn't had many opportunities to showcase what he can on the singles match without some kind of tomfoolery or some kind of nonsense happening. So, no Imperium, nobody interfering, clean match as far as having the foresight to be able to book a match and showcase why Xavier Woods is in the company and why he's facing the Intercontinental Champion for a championship match that they booked 2 weeks ago, because they wanted to let everybody know he is good enough for that shot. And he's actually good enough to be Intercontinental Champion, which is a championship he's never had.
Of course.
The issue is you're facing a bulldog in Walter.
Of course.
I tell you this right now, they had the match of the night. Period. Point. End of discussion. That was without question the best match that Gunther gave to Xavier Woods. Obviously, he's had better matches, but as far as Xavier Woods goes, that was the best match that he's had in a singles capacity since probably last year, because he doesn't have any opportunities to have these singles matches, and they tore the house down. Great match. They went through a couple of commercial breaks, and that goes to show you how high profile of a championship match this was. Without question, great match. Great match.
Yes, great. Harrod says Walter, the greatest IC champ of all time. I go ahead and agree to that.
He's getting there. He's getting there.
He's getting there. Most definitely. From there, we go ahead and go into the world of AEW, ladies and gentlemen, and that starts off with Hobbs. Peeps, I know you wanted to go ahead and rant. Save it for the topic today, man. Save it for the topic today. But, of course, I know how much you want to get in. Just dive in, man. Just dive in.
Okay. For those that watched AEW Dynamite, that watched the build for the TNT Championship match or rematch between Wardlow and the champion Powerhouse Hobbs. The build was there. They were going to have this match. They finally were able to book the match. And the way that the match went, it wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty good match. They went back and forth. There was a lot of meat slapping, as seems to be the case with a lot of big men now in wrestling, especially over the last month or so. What my issue is, and I'm going to try to keep it as succinct and close to the topic as possible without going too far over, is what are they doing with Powerhouse Hobbs? One. And number two, what are they doing with having this match, one, not be the main event, but two, not having this match on a pay-per-view? Now, Hobbs, as far as I'm concerned, is probably the best up-and-coming star AEW has. And the fact that you have gone ahead and said, we're going to have him with the TNT Championship and let him have that championship. And he's not only barely defended it, he's barely had the chance to showcase his skills without some kind of nonsense going on. And I think it's criminal. The fact that you have given Hobbs this push where he literally beat Wardlow senseless to win that championship. You give him the belt, and then in a matter of weeks, he's lost the championship again to Wardlow, a guy who just recently came back. What are they doing with Hobbs? And I tell you right now, at this rate, the fans are going to start to get tired of Hobbs, because if you're going to build him like this and you're going to showcase him on television where he doesn't have the right opportunity to show what kind of monster he is, he should be TNT champion and putting people through tables and putting them through walls and throwing them out, beating quality talent for a minimum of 6 months. Literally, the push that they gave Miro is what they should be doing with Hobbs. And I kid you not, it is absolutely questionable to me whether they know what they're doing with Hobbs or not. And I hope this has not poisoned the fans' opinion of what this guy can do, because all they have done is portray him as a guy that's going to have a high profile match, and then he's going to lose.
Exactly. So let's just hope for the best when it comes into
yes.
The world of AEW, ladies and gentlemen, never goes wrong with us, doesn't it? Lord. From there, we move back into the world of WWE. Trish Stratus is giving us a run for our money. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watched Raw this past Monday, I would believe that you were 100% satisfied. I know I was. Listen. but I have to say, Trish coming out, trench coat, cowboy hat, aside from Brock Lesnar's I know what you did last summer aesthetic, she went ahead and cut a promo that kind of left you saying, okay, this version of Trish being back and kind of going ahead and giving out and saying that she's nobody's fantasy, she's no one's sidekick. Peeps, listen. If you're not happy of this Trish push and this whole little storyline, I don't know what to tell you. What do you think about it, man?
It's actually refreshing. My personal problem with the whole thing is that it should have happened sooner. Remember, they had her up in Toronto when they could have actually kickstarted this whole heel turn at the time, and then built it so that the match that what she's doing now, that could have been showcased at WrestleMania instead of having a lukewarm 6-woman tag team match, which was okay, but it didn't have the right angle, the right build to it. And now that you're turning Trish heel for, I would guess, a potential run between now and I would guess SummerSlam. That's what I'm kind of thinking, that they're going to have this run between now and at the minimum June, maybe July going in. But I think at the end of this, I think we're talking about probably by SummerSlam, the end of this run. This is something different. I think the fans are willing to look at Trish in this way to see how she's going to build this feud up. And we'll see what happens. It kind of felt almost like it was thrown together at the last minute to get something going, but I do like this. I hope they temper this in a way that it's not, same old, we get a legend that come in and then come out and then become a heel just to put someone else over, which is kind of what's happening. But let's hope that this is not done in a way where the fans really start to get bored with this.
Of course. Exactly right. I don't blame you on that. From there, considering that we were speaking on Run for Our Money, let's go ahead and get into something else. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted DiBiase Jr. is on a money scheme. Seems like, in the words of his father, everybody's got a price.
Yes.
You know what? Let me stop. I digress from that. Peeps,
there you go. First one
of the day. But Peeps, considering this whole situation and what we've heard already, you're telling me this man has committed probably one of the greatest tax frauds in the state of Missouri in history.
Yes.
How do you end up? Imagine how ironic that your father is being built as the $1 million man, and you literally boot gang millions from. Oh wow, that's That's some heavy
Yes.
hitting stuff, peeps.
Yes.
What are we supposed to say about this? I just
Yeah.
had fans. Listen. The listeners just said add this in. I don't know what to. What am I supposed?
This kind of gets back in the face of what people think of celebrities. We know
Yeah.
Brett Favre, the former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, going through something similar, where he's being looked at in bilking welfare recipients out of millions of dollars to build a stadium at his alma mater for his daughter.
Yep.
Millions and millions of dollars. An athlete that has money. Ted DiBiase Jr., you would think, even though he hadn't been in the business as long as his father or as long as a lot of other people, but you would think he had a pretty mildly successful career. He did acting when the WWE had their own film production company. So yeah, he was able to do something with that.
Yeah.
But based on the allegations that this is entailing and what he is potentially looking at, he's looking at a lot of jail time. And what irks a lot of people is that if you are in the eyes of the public, especially if you're a professional wrestler, celebrity, an athlete, and most people think you should have made a ton of money. Why does it seem that the money that you've made is seemingly never enough? And as we are seeing, because of what these kinds of issues are, like you said, everybody seemingly has a price, and apparently his price may be 30 years in jail. It's absolutely it's mind blowing. Just to take it's low income families. He used to buy a car and a boat and some other things. And if you're looking at this, like, what is the point? 20 years for wire fraud potentially. 10 years for each count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds and each count of money laundering. He's looking at real hard time, not boss man hard time, but real hard time.
Not Dusty Rose hard time either. I can tell you that.
No, not on his hard time, baby. Not he's gonna go to jail and sit in a cell, baby. Not that kind of hard time. We're talking sit in a jail cell with a number X.123X, whatever number, and orange is the new black type thing, and cleaning up sidewalks and being in a chain gang. That's the kind of hard stuff.
You don't give him a watch. You take away his watch, kick him in the butt, and say, "Hey, a computer take your place." That is.
Yes, that's right, baby.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yes, and there's worse. Wow. He's not the only one involved in this. It's like the whole DiBiase family is involved. His brother Brett. Let me see. Brett asked for $225,000, pleaded guilty a couple years ago. DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, had to go through a lot of this stuff also, and that, I guess, is pending. So whatever is going on with the $1 Million family, they're going to be paying millions and millions and millions of dollars if they don't get this taken care of. And it's sad because this stuff did not have to happen.
Exactly. I wonder where Virgil's at right now.
Oh boy.
I digress. Moving on.
Got two of them.
Wow. For the DiBiase's. Oh man.
Yes. 2 and 15 minutes. That should tell you something.
Lord. Next thing coming from the world of AEW, Adam Cole and Chris Jericho might be what we need. Now, if you do know, for the past couple of weeks, Adam Cole and Chris Jericho have somewhat been going into some type of feud in which AEW seems like they were literally having Adam Cole become a valet for Keith Lee in the time being. Doesn't that sound familiar, peeps? But you know what? I digress. Let me not get into
there you go. It sounds like a story we talked about like say 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And what wasn't that coming from the mind of Vince McMahon? And maybe just maybe Adam Cole didn't accept it, but somehow he's accepting it at a piss. Let me stop.
Directly from the offices of the Voodoo Kin Mafia. But hey, what do I know?
What do I know? I'm just a 400-pound gorilla in the room, man.
There you go.
Man. But currently, we're seeing that closer and closer, maybe by Double or Nothing, Chris Jericho and Adam Cole might have a high-profile match. Look, here's the thing. If you watched Dynamite this past Wednesday, you cannot tell me that you kind of felt some type of heartache for Adam Cole. Although they did botch that whole spot with the handcuff.
Oh,
You know what?
don't get me started with that one because I'll be here another half hour.
I'm not, peeps. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not trying to.
Yeah,
But peeps,
I'll digress on that one. There's number 4.
honestly, exactly.
There you go.
So look,
It's going to be that kind of show, folks.
all I'm gonna ask you, if they do have that match or Double or Nothing, who do you see going ahead and coming out victor?
I think Adam Cole needs this victory because Jericho is at this point right now, outside of getting the Jericho Appreciation Society over, he's getting other talent over. And considering Adam Cole, this would be his first high-profile feud in AEW since he's been back. It makes the most sense to get him over in a way that works. And how you do that? Kind of what they did at the end of the show. It was a little too melodramatic on understanding what they were trying to do. And Dr. Britt Baker, let me get the hand out. And, please leave her alone. And then you could hear the Days of Our Lives music. You could see the hourglass being turned over. And then you can see Stefano Demir. Oh, sorry, wrong show. What you could actually see was Dr. Britt Baker. And it makes sense the way they did it. It's, okay, we're going to beat up Adam Cole. But wait a minute. It would be much more painful in Pittsburgh if we beat up his girlfriend in front of him with nowhere to go. And that's the impetus for this whole deal. The only issue is, as I've said before with AEW, they botched the angle. But number 2, the Hobbs match should have been the main event of the show. But we understand why it wasn't, because they were in Pittsburgh. The way that this was built has big feud written all over it. So I think that if they get this done right, Double or Nothing is probably the best way to get this going. And then you get this feud kind of out of the way just between Double or Nothing and Forbidden Door. So then you can kind of clear it for August and the show in Wembley Stadium.
Of course.
Well, I think you can get a good 2 months out of this if done right.
Could be if done right. But
yes.
In the world of Tony Khan, peeps, we don't always get things done right. But I mean, I digress. What are we already at right now?
We have 5 already in the first 20 minutes.
Ow.
Good grief.
This is not it today, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. But
that's 35 on the year. It's 35 on the year.
Wow. And it's only April, ladies and gentlemen.
It's
only April. Look. This marks the end for Fast Track because I kid you not, if we probably went into one more topic, we would have 18 more I digresses to come out of that.
Yes.
So look, that marks the end of it. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick little 30-second break. And when we come back, we're going to get into our questions for today's episode. And then from there, we'll go ahead and get into the final topic of today's show. So stay tuned. Do not go anywhere because the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, it's the phenomenal one, and then joined by my side is Mr. Peeps Nate. We will go ahead and get straight into our questions for today's show. Of course, you do know that if you want to send a question, all you got to do is one thing. DM us on Instagram at Saturday_main event. Send a question. It will be guaranteed to be featured on the next episode of the show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get with
the Vanna Black impersonation.
There we go. Peeps, thank you so very much. You're too kind, man.
There you go.
Ah, man. First one of the day comes from Doctor of Thugonomics. He says, day 991 of Adam Cole not being... Are we really continuing with this?
The countdown continues.
He's really My lord.
Yes.
Day 991 of Adam Cole not being world champion. Heard he's in a feud with Chris Jericho or the Lionheart or Rainmaker. Kill me now.
Well, actually, it was supposed to be the Painmaker, if you're going by that logic, because
I guess
the
he just likes
Rainmaker we
Okada
know
too
is
much.
Okada.
Yeah, I guess he
Yeah.
just likes Okada too much. You watch too much Okada, Doctor Thugonomics. I just
Yes.
have to. Ah, man, Lord have mercy. Wow, but
Yes.
hey, listen, it's okay, man.
Yeah.
It will get better.
We're
Listen, if
we're
I have,
here for you. We're here, Doc. We
trust
give you
me, don't
the
worry. We got you. We got you. We got you.
yes.
Just lay off the meds, please. You know, I know you're probably taking the right stuff, but just lay off the meds, bro.
He's a
Please.
doctor. He writes prescriptions for thugonomics, so he has to. There you go.
Guess he needs a lockjaw from
See,
Britt
I'm
Baker.
looking out for you, Doc. There you go.
Oh man, Lord have mercy.
Yes.
Uh Next one comes from Master Sean 007. He says, I see that
Okay.
AEW is looking to add another wrestling program, AEW Collision. Okay. Now, does it make sense to add another show when the ratings for the product having shown no growth in the 3 years it's been on air? And can one person book 4 wrestling shows and not suffer creative burnout? Peeps, you know Master Sean 007 is being serious in all business when he forgets to
Yeah.
say greetings and gets straight into business.
Yes. He seems to mean business.
Yeah, trust me, I know this can piss you off too, Master Sean 007, but we
Yes.
appreciate the question. Peeps, what do we say about this, man?
The short answer is no, because let's really be honest. One person should not be booking 4 TV shows. If we're gonna go by this, because I've actually read about this, and from what I've read, this show would start in June, and it would be on Saturday nights between 8 and 10. And I think from what is being reported, that it's going to be a kind of a splitting of the roster to some degree. Because let's really be honest, there's almost 200 wrestlers on AEW's roster
Yep.
between
Honestly, yeah.
Dynamite and Rampage and Dark Elevation,
Appreciate
and you need to have a rotation of wrestlers that are synonymous with the particular brand of the show. So if you're going to have Dynamite, you're going to have your Omegas, and you're going to have the Elite, and you're going to have maybe FTR, and you're going to have a certain number of wrestlers there. Rampage seems to kind of be that secondary show where you just have matches, but very little storyline advancement or development. That's kind of the way it's been. Unless they bring in somebody with a big debut, as we remember CM Punk debuting on Rampage when they were in Chicago. And oh, by the way, this reported new show, which is going to be, I believe, called AEW Collision, will debut in, of all places, Chicago. Thinking about that makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to go too far with any speculation here. I'm just saying that's the thought process.
Look. If it's the thought process, because if anything, we do know how Tony Khan feels about going ahead and debuting shows in Chicago.
Yes.
And then, of course, having one person be the talk of the town in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then breaking wrestling internet for a good 1 week about Chicago. Do I have to continue on? Peeps, we know what's going to happen. Listen, guys.
It seems like there's a lot of punkish attitude in this company when it comes to Chicago.
Zing.
There you go.
Punkish.
Yes.
See,
wrong. You see, we're here. We're here.
We're here.
Yes.
Yeah, we're here. We're here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
In the words of Bray Wyatt, we're here. Dang, I Jeez.
Yeah.
You know what?
Cool. I have a lantern somewhere, but I think it's too late to bring it. So
too late. Okay, Pete, we'll get it. We'll get it, man. We'll get it. But
yes,
honestly, to go ahead and just add to what Peeps is saying, Master Son 007, I do feel that somebody might not be able to suffer creative burnout when it comes to 4 wrestling shows. I mean, honestly, let's put it this way. You have WWE who goes ahead and has certain creative writers. Of course, you have to have creative writers to go ahead and at least end the lag. And you being executive, you just have to sign off on it, right? He can just literally do that. But Tony won't do that. So look, he's putting all of this on himself. We try to help him, just get yourself a creative team, but you tend to not have that wide of a creative team as to other companies who don't seem to be having this problem, although they are. But it's okay. What I'm trying to say is that another wrestling show, just to go ahead and get some of the other wrestlers out there, cool. In the sense of creative wise, he doesn't know what he's doing. Let's just keep it at that. Let's really just keep it at that. Honestly, I hate to say it, Tony doesn't know what he's doing. Let's just, Lord have mercy. God bless his soul.
I don't think, in all reality, though, I don't think it's a bad idea to have a show that is on par with what SmackDown does for Fridays, because the unique part of what AEW is doing is they have so many wrestlers there. And if you have a chance to separate the roster and kind of keep the malcontents away from themselves, if there is, say, internal scat going on, I think if you want to go ahead and do that, if you do have the right people around you, and then you book it in a way so that both shows are separate, yet, let's say, perfect example, you have a world champion. You could have MJF show up at either one of the shows, whatever's the case. You have the TNT championship, you got the TBS championship, you have your tag team championships, you have the AEW International Championship. One of those shows should have at least two of those champions on there and make that kind of like a permanent home outside of the world champions who would go back and forth with each show. And then you're kind of building storylines with the guys that are on the underneath card to make them the stars of that quote unquote B show. And then you have Rampage, which is kind of like right in the middle, kind of like a stake in the ground. And then you try to figure out what you're going to do creatively with that. Now, the caveat here is, as you just alluded to, Tony Khan is doing this by himself. So he's spreading himself way too thin. And in the process, you're going to make the product look in a way that is going to be confusing to some, because everybody think, well, AEW is just Dynamite and Rampage. Well, no, you've got a lot of undercard guys that you can develop on Dark and Dark Elevation. You start to build those guys. You bring that attention. You show who this guy, like what they did with Action Andretti, who had been in the independents for about 7 or 8 years, but no one heard about him until he came up and then he had his first match and beat Chris Jericho on television for his first match. If you showcase him on Elevation and then put him on the Saturday show, and you have him in some good matches and have interviews and vignettes about what he can do, who he's beaten. And as I said before, you then go into, well, here are the top 3 tag teams that are going to compete for the championship. Who's going to be the top contenders for MJF, the top contenders for Cassidy, et cetera, et cetera. And you build that out. You can then make a creative noise that's different from what you're seeing on the main shows, while making it unique to the fact that the undercard are starting to get some kind of attention. But as we said, I'm going to go back to that caveat again. This is only if Tony Khan has help and considers, I can't do this all alone, and kind of spread that out.
They see, even with Cody, when Cody was there, I mean, truth be told, the ranking system was working,
Yeah. Remember, the records that they used to show on the Chiron on the screen was different.
Oh my, you know what? Peeps, I'm not.
We're on the same page here.
I mean, not because I'm not trying to go ahead and go for a 6. I digress, and we haven't even gotten into the main topic. Let me not do this. Okay?
Don't worry, I got the pen ready in case.
Thank God, peeps.
Yes.
But from there, Master Sean 007, appreciate the question. This was
great
really
question. Great question.
Very complex. We enjoyed it. Next one comes from Tombstone City Adam. He says, Omos, that's the question. You know what? Because this is kind of regarding our main topic. So we'll just keep it for later. Tombstone City Adam, we appreciate you on that one.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Put that as an aside. Yes.
Of course. Oh, Taekwon looks like he was going crazy in the chat. Taekwon said this. AEW Saturday Night Slam Master should be the title. He says, I love
somebody is an old school Capcom video game player. Yeah.
I love anyone who knows that reference. Look.
Yes. And you're looking at him. Yes. Let's bring Hagar back in. Let's make a wrestler named Hagar. Mike Hagar will be in the ring. And he'll do a spinning pile driver off the top rope through a table. And there you go.
No. Somebody get Biff Slamkovich out here, please. Call it a day. Oh man,
Oh,
Taekwon, we're on the same page, yo. I love our fans, man. This is
yes,
too much. Oh man. He
yes.
also says, I was a writer for AEW. I got fired for suggesting Tyrus as world champ. Thankfully, Billy Corgan saw my vision.
Wow.
So you're working for NWA now. Okay, we see you.
uh,
Oh
Once
Lord.
again, what's the bright idea?
Man, we have too much fun with these peeps.
Yes.
Did we ever contain our laughter for these questions? He also
Yes.
says the TNT title gets. Oh Lord, I can't finish it. I
Woo!
can't.
Yeah, yeah. This is a family show.
Exactly. Oh man. Oh Lord, have mercy.
Yes.
Oh wow.
But
Hey,
we understand the sentiment.
Taekwon,
Yes.
give
Yes.
yourself a pat on the back, man.
Yes.
Keep this simple.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, a pat on the back is 15 inches away from the kick in the rear. I learned that best from Mr.
There
Peach.
you go.
We'll keep it like
Yes.
that. Last question comes from Hot Rod 316. He says, Ultimate Warrior in his prime versus Roman Reigns. Who you got? Peeps, before you go ahead and say anything, let me just put it like this, okay?
Right.
Since
Okay.
WrestleMania 39, okay, I've been seeing Instagram reels and TikToks of, okay, let's go ahead and put it like this. And what the reel would be is it would either have Thanos versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 50, and all you hear in the back is that background sound of 1, 2, 3, and instantly Roman Reigns' theme music starts playing. So it's just like, okay, Roman can defeat anybody. The one that I saw most recently was Roman Reigns versus the reincarnation of Christ at WrestleMania 1000. The minute I heard it, and the minute I just heard the 3 count, I was just like, these people gotta be kidding. The internet has to be stopped.
Yes, the one that I saw, I actually saw one with Roman Reigns in a spacesuit that says WrestleMania on the moon or on Mars. That's what it was. And it was a giant picture of Mars, and it had Roman Reigns with gray hair inside a spacesuit with a wrestler. I'm like, they're really taking this to task about this long title reign. So yeah.
The funniest one I can't imagine.
Yes.
The funniest one was
WrestleMania
this. The funniest one was
on
this.
The moon. Yeah.
It was like,
I think we can all see that. Yeah.
Nah,
anyway,
honestly, the funniest
here's
one,
what I think.
Look, peeps, all I'm gonna say is this. Roman Reigns, okay? Because put it this way. You're gonna tell me, okay? Roman about a couple of days away from winning, like the Universal title back then, around SummerSlam, close to Payback. We said to ourselves, okay, this is going to be a good little feud. We're not really going to worry about it, whatever the case may be. Peeps, you're telling me that he's been holding the Universal title since Backlash, been holding the WWE title since WrestleMania. And now you're going to sit here and tell me that he's still holding it just to make 1,000 days at that Night of Champions pay-per-view in Saudi.
Yeah.
Not to mention, peeps, you're sitting there and you're telling me that people are making these memes, which means they're buying into it more. Peeps, I literally saw one about a Make-A-Wish kid wanting to have a match against Roman Reigns and winning the titles, and you still have that sound playing in the background of Roman Reigns actually pinning the kid. Peeps, the man is unstoppable. Ain't no way you're telling me Ultimate Warrior in his prime is beating Roman Reigns. I'm not buying it. Ain't no way, peeps. I can't. If that comes to it, I might as well just say Roman. If you say Ultimate Warrior, listen, peeps, I don't blame you.
Yeah. I think if the Ultimate Warrior, yeah.
So you got Warrior.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, peeps has gone
Here's what
mental.
I think. If we're gonna go by what the Ultimate Warrior has done in the peak.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like Mr. Peeps Nature is having technical difficulties. Peeps, can you hear me? Oh, Lord have mercy. Guys, what is going on to Mr. Peeps Nature? Someone go ahead and sound off in the comments for Mr. Peeps Nature, because I don't know.
I can hear you now, yeah.
Peeps, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
think I am having technical difficulties.
Yeah,
Wait up.
come out
Let
and
me
come
come
back
back
in.
into the
There we
room, and then I'll come back and see what's going on with this.
say no more. Say no more. Oh man, Hot Rod, please come on, man. You ain't have to try to man like that. Come on, come on, come on. The Peeps was hacked. See, this is what we get for talking about Tony Khan, ladies and gentlemen. We can't stop it. You know, I guess he just stream snipes us, and he just goes ahead, comes out, comes back in, and this is what he does. But look, guys, it's okay. He'll be back. He'll be back. I know he'll be back. He'll be back. Look. Somebody had a phone call. Peeps is using dial up. Listen, guys, continue to sound off. I'm enjoying this as much as you guys are, but like, look, don't worry. He'll be good. He'll be good. He'll be good. It happens. It happens. But look. He's coming back in. Hopefully,
Okay.
Peeps,
There
you
we
good?
go. There we go.
There
Yeah,
we go.
I'm good. Yes,
There we
yes.
go.
I think Ted DiBiase Jr. tried to buy out my connection. Everybody has a price, apparently.
Oh man, look at this. Hot Rod is saying start a GoFundMe page for the Wi-Fi, and then you got the Peeps, they supposed to be living in Brooklyn instead of my hometown, Queens, New York. Not to mention, Taekwon is saying Peeps got 2 hamsters running a wheel on powering his Wi-Fi.
It's all powered by Tylenol. That's what it is.
Oh man. But Peeps, I heard you said that you were picking up the Ultimate Warrior. Explain yourself, man.
What I was saying is, if we're going to pick the Ultimate Warrior in his prime versus Roman Reigns, now you'd have to go by. When the Warrior first started, he was just a bundle of energy all over the place. He didn't have any real structure. He didn't know what he was doing, uncoordinated, et cetera, et cetera. As he started to learn the business and kind of learn what he could do and what he couldn't do, and then started to get into the ring with better opponents, he showed that he wasn't just blowing up in matches and that was it. He showed that there was a span where he could actually have pretty good matches. And I think the pinnacle of the great matches that he showed that he could have, the feud against Rick Rude, the feud against Randy Savage, the feud against the kind of sort of feud with Ric Flair, if you want to call it that, but that was more along the lines of him helping out Mr. Perfect and trying to get that thing going in the Savage feud, interfering in it. But the Warrior showed that he could have, if you encapsulate that 3 or 4 year span that Warrior had when he was WWF champion, when he beat Sergeant Slaughter, or when he lost the belt to Sergeant Slaughter. And then from there until about the time he left the first time, you take that Ultimate Warrior and you stick him in the ring with this Roman Reigns, I think Roman Reigns could come out on top, but you have to figure out in which way are you going to book this. If we're going to book this match in that era, Warrior wins. If you're going to book that match in today's highlight, then Roman will definitely win. I think that it's an interesting matchup. I think a lot of people that are Roman Reigns fans are looking at like, you must be crazy. Warrior can't win this. And like I said, if it's booked today, with today's mindset, with today's fan, today's audience, of course, Roman is going to win. But I think it would definitely be a pretty good match. I think it'd be a heck of a lot better than Warrior Hogan Part 2 that happened when Warrior's part of the OWN. And I'm not talking about Oprah Winfrey's network either.
Oh, man, Lord have mercy. Oh, shoot. But, all right. See, it's kind of simmered down. We're good now. Hot Rod,
yes.
You appreciate the question, man.
Yes.
This marks the end of our questions, ladies and gentlemen. This was faith-filled fun and just all out great. I mean, Lord have mercy.
Yes.
But, guys, as I said, you see how much we enjoy these questions. All you have to do is just one thing. If you want to send one, DM us on Instagram at Saturday_main event. Send a question in. Guys, it's going to be on the next episode of the show. I guarantee you it.
Yes.
So look, just do it. In the words of Nike, just do it. From there, we go into the last topic for today's show. And as I said, it was kind of a little bit of alluding because the thing is that, Peeps, I'm just going to go ahead and display the picture on the screen. Does that work for you?
Okay, sure.
No problem. How about them apples?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, peeps, you want me to start this?
Yes, you do. Because I might get a little. I think I might get a little over the top with this one. But yes, you go right on ahead.
Guys, I said that I was literally having, like, under the weather season. My eye is literally swollen. I'm all over the place today, but I told myself no. For the fans, for the commitment to Saturday afternoon's main event, I needed to do this. And I think I needed to get this off my chest on this microphone today, Saturday afternoon, April 22nd, 2023. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and say this. A couple of months ago, I was listening to I believe it was a podcast of some sort, and Cody Rhodes was on it. They were asking Cody questions about real life competition backstage and if he has beef with anybody. He said that the competition is real. Everybody's really fighting for that spot. And of course, me being able to get the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns is big, but it's not really like, not many people in the back seem to care. Then, name drop Seth Rollins. I sit there and I'm just like, okay, maybe this is just to go ahead and, add on to the feud. Because we know Cody's a real kayfabe guy. Cody likes to keep things in character. Cody's not going to act like he didn't just have a good onslaught of matches with Seth Rollins and then just act like the man no longer exists. He's probably alluding to maybe down the line, back when I was watching this, maybe if he wins the titles, he goes ahead and he faces Seth. That's what we're going to be going with. Maybe this is what we have entailed for Cody's first feud. Maybe this is what is going to happen. I was wrong. Why? Because Cody then goes, off that. And a couple of weeks later, right before his match against Logan Paul at WrestleMania Night 1, Seth has an interview with, I believe it was an ESPN official, or it might have been Daniel Cormier. Seth goes ahead and says that, yes, I'm not really fond of Cody having the main event. That is something that I've been fighting for most of the time, and I feel as if I'm overlooked in that aspect of being a main eventer. I've never really gotten the chance to main event at WrestleMania, and who better would it be against than if not Roman? I feel as if I deserve that. I've been carrying the company on my back. I need that spot, and the fact that I'm not getting it, it's somewhat bittersweet, but I really do not care for knowing who has that spot over me, because I most definitely deserve it over anybody else in this business. Do I blame him? No. Why? Because truth be told, peeps, if we literally had a chance to sit there and analyze each and every pro wrestler that has done something or carried the company at some aspect in any points of their career, truth be told, peeps, Seth has been doing it since 2015.
Yes.
Seth has been there. Even after the injuries, Seth has come back and still created bangers. Seth is in there, in, out, I don't care what you call it, and he stays loyal to the company. What more can you possibly ask for? It's not like he wants to leave. He's not asking for his release. There are many people in this world, CM Punk, who would want to ask for their release after not getting the main event of WrestleMania. Seth goes in, does business, and he goes back and he just collects his due. Does he? What more can you ask from a guy like Seth Rollins? And the man is talented. Literally, just this past Monday, he put on a banger with The Miz, in which I believe had to be probably one of the better TV matches of this solid year.
Yes, that was the actual match of the night. When was the last time you heard anybody say The Miz was in the match of the night on any show?
On any show. On any show.
Yes.
That's true enough. Peeps, before we go, Taekwon, Seth, this black man took my spot. Seth definitely. Oh, man. Peeps.
Wow.
No, he did not.
Wow.
He pulled a Hogan.
Wow.
He pulled a Hogan. Oh,
good grief.
What's next? He becomes the Iron Sheik and he turkeys Cody. You jabroni. Like, what's next?
I guess he's looking to make people humble.
Yes, exactly. Make him pay. Make him humble. But
Yes.
exactly. Oh man. But look, after all of that, and hearing
Yes.
that there is so much displeasure backstage with Cody, there's build up with him and Seth, then hearing that the displeasure's really there, and then Becky even confirming it and even saying she doesn't even feel that Cody was really guaranteed to have that spot. It should have been Seth on national TV.
Mhm.
Peeps. So this is really happening. It's true. So, okay, what do we go from here about? After WrestleMania, more displeasure seems to happen in which Seth is literally pissed off that his segment gets cut short the night after WrestleMania by just standing in the ring and conducting the crowd to sing his theme song, and then
That was a
ends up
segment. That was a segment.
you
That
digress.
was
I
actually
digress.
a
No,
segment. Hmm.
double I digress. Double I digress. I
There,
believe we're
there
at
you
7.
go. There you
Yeah,
go. We're at 7.
double I digress. First one in history, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Guys, from there to now tell me that on May 6th in Puerto Rico at Backlash, thank God not no WrestleMania Backlash, but Backlash, Seth freaking Rollins is facing Omos?
Hmm.
Omos!
Well,
The
if you
guy,
look at Omos's rankings, I mean, he's
no,
done a tremendous job getting that title. That he's getting up there, and he's going to get a championship. And obviously, I'm being very sarcastic.
of course, of course. You know what I've been
Yes.
seeing on social media this whole time? Look, and even Taekwon's taking part in it. Because Taekwon's like me and my fellow homosexuals are hyped. Omos is, Omos is the greatest technical wrestler of this generation.
Don't let somebody from WWE watch this podcast and actually use that and then run that to creative and then run that to the merchandising company and then they end up having a t-shirt that has that on there. Ugh.
Peeps, peeps. You know what I've seen from the comments on Instagram about this? They're
Hmm.
saying that Omos and Seth are about to put on Taker Shawn WrestleMania 25 esque style of match. Like you're telling peeps. Let's be
Yes.
for real. Let's be for real. Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Of course, I know the sarcasm is the sarcasm, and I
Yes.
can take a joke. But why put Seth in the position to face Omos when literally all you had to do was continue on with the Miz, in which they still could have been putting on banger after banger. If it's
Yes.
not broke, don't fix it. Beeps, we could
Mm-hmm.
have gotten another Miz and Seth Rollins match at Backlash. But instead, you're going to go ahead and tell me that you're gonna put Seth freaking Rollins against a 7 foot tall Nigerian giant Omos.
Yes.
What type of
That's
wet dreams is Vince McMahon having? Let me know now,
Well,
please.
apparently it involves Omos, a huge ring, and maybe a tequila. I don't know. I'll
Peeps,
tell
I
you
digress.
this.
I digress.
Yeah,
Take the.
you got we got 8. Are we shooting for 10? Are we
Let's
shooting
go.
for 10 to
Peeps,
this?
go. Peeps, go. Peeps, go. I can't lose.
Ah,
I can't.
okay.
I can't. I'm gonna lose it. Just go.
Okay. I'm gonna warm the hands up. I'm gonna stroke the goatee, and I'm gonna go off.
Okay,
First and foremost.
before you do, Taekwon just says this. Vince got the Nivea and Kleenex for this match. Okay, you may continue.
Kind of hard to follow that one up.
Zing.
Okay. Here's where I'm gonna go with this. We know the WWE structure from the time that they announced the sale. And prior to that, when Triple H took over creative while Vince was off, having to go through his legal issues while trying to kind of shepherd the sale with, sale, merger, whatever you want to call it, with Endeavor, who is now, I can't believe I'm saying this for a second week in a row, the parent company of WWE, which sounds weird. But hey, I'll reel that back in and I'll stay a little focused on this. The fact that Since all of that happened, you had a handful of constants. You had Nick Khan, who's now basically the CEO of the WWE. You
Yes.
had two McMahon children fired in less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you also had, on the wrestling side of it, Roman Reigns, the Usos, and you had Seth Rollins as the wrestling constants of the company, as far as you're going to get rock solid attendance based on the bloodline storyline that has been built. You're going to have involvement with in-ring work, and then on the Seth Rollins side, you're going to have in-ring great technical and main event quality wrestling matches, not just the sports entertainment arm, the wrestling technical in-ring work rate that we're used to seeing was going to come from Seth Rollins. That was the constant. Here's the problem. Somewhere between Cody coming into the company, Cody getting hurt, Cody coming back, and then the continued rise of this bloodline storyline, Seth Rollins has kind of been taken for granted. It's Seth is going to give you the all-star match. We don't have to necessarily worry about that. Oh, but what has happened is Seth now, when they made him a huge heel, going back to his feud with Edge, and they changed his music, even as a heel, the fans were chanting for Seth Rollins to do what he's been doing. And now the fan involvement has gotten to the point where I believe the fans turned Seth face. So we'll go with that. Here's the problem. In turning him face, probably against the progression that the company wanted, because I'm pretty sure they wanted to keep Seth a heel for quite some time until they felt the need to do it. They couldn't do it any longer. So now you're looking at a wrestler who is the caliber of athlete of Rollins, having the caliber of matches that he's had. We can go with the Logan Paul match, and we can go into what we talked about with The Miz. That match, if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it.
Watch.
See it after the show. After our show was done, then go and check that match out.
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of the best matches Raw has put on television this year. And that says a lot. They tore the house down with a match that everybody who has seen Miz versus whoever, the mindset is, oh, it's the Miz. We'll throw it away. Because Miz has been in the comedy storytelling mode and not showing you that he's actually a really good wrestler. And then you put him in the ring with Seth Rollins, who is one of the best in-ring workers in the WWE and in wrestling in general. You temper that with the fact that that's a match that we could have had the day after WrestleMania. Instead, coming off of the WrestleMania match with Logan Paul and that huge reception that he got, and then putting him on Raw the next night and having the fans serenade him with his song and his music, and you bring him into the ring and you cut the commercial. And then 2.5 minutes later, he's gone. Wasn't he supposed to have a match? That's what I was led to believe. And I'm pretty sure that's what Seth was led to believe. Even if he wasn't going to have a match, something involving him not standing in the ring looking like a shower curtain and dancing around and being used just to put his song over. This is a disconnect that has to change. And the funny part about this is Seth Rollins is a company person. He has gone to bat for this company when a lot of people thought, Seth, you're being real petty about this, or you're being real petty against this particular wrestler with that. And what he's starting to find out is he's not immune to the same stuff that the people that he was getting on fall in. And which is, if the company goes in a different way and they start to complain about it publicly, it shouldn't really be up to you as the person that has been there the longest, because Seth has been in WWE, what, 12 years now? Almost about that long. And if you're going to go that route, you should be, I would think, a little more supportive of the people that are in the company that are your brethren, your brothers in arms, the fellow wrestlers. And he's got a cushy position in the card usually. He's got the great ring entrance music. He's married to the probably the star of the women's division in Becky Lynch. He's set. Only problem is what just happened to the rest of the company. He can't really compete for the main roster spot because Roman Reigns occupies it. And once Roman Reigns is there, every other push, every other idea gets sucked into a black hole of the abyss and is sent outward until they resolve what they plan on doing with this. And what makes it worse is since they've talked about now, the WWE draft is going to be next week, starting next Friday. Every storyline, every part of progression has been on hold until then. Mm-hmm. What do you do as Seth Rollins to try to negate that ideology that I am a great talent, I am a main eventer, I haven't main evented WrestleMania, for the exception of WrestleMania 32 when he came out and he won over Brock. 31, I should say, and won over Brock after he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Other than that, he's never main evented a WrestleMania.
Never really been on the marquee. Nope.
And exactly. And I think Seth is 100% right in the fact that he should have had the opportunity. The problem is the timing. And over these last 3 years, this has been the Roman Reigns bloodline era by edict of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And as long as this continues to go on, anybody who is underneath that is not named Anoa'i as a last name will not get any higher than where they are right now. And I think they've taken for granted that Seth has the music and the fans and has a great match. How many times can you put the U.S. Championship on Seth? How many times would you be able to put the Intercontinental Championship on Seth? Seth is right. He should be a main eventer or at least competing in a main event status.
Of course, exactly. Taekwon says something. Taekwon said Seth won the Rumble and proceeded to open the show. That should tell you enough.
Yes.
That should tell you enough. That really should tell you enough. Because peeps, let's be honest here. Like, you know, Lord, I can understand his displeasure. His displeasure, it literally shows, peeps. And I mean, it sucks currently. I just hope that he really just actually does get that main event, you know, that spot that he's been hoping for. That's because we've all been expecting of it.
Yes.
We've all been ready to see it. I mean, it's Seth Rollins. We thought that at one point in time, we were going to get to see the Shield, all three, one time at one night, fighting each other for the company's biggest prize, which is the WWE title. Well, you know, Moxley ain't there, you know, so then you got Roman going ahead and running everything, and now you got Seth in the stronghold. Only time we got to see that was what, Money in the Bank, where all three of them kind of like, you know, held the title at the same time, that same night.
Yes,
that's
tag
pretty
team
much
champions, U.S. champion, all at the same time, and beating everyone up.
Yeah, and then Money in the Bank, Roman walks in, loses the title to Seth, then Seth loses the title to like Ambrose, who just got done cashing it. Peeps, it sucks. It sucks because, you know, to know how much we appreciate Seth Rollins and to think that the company itself doesn't give him the same type of appreciation.
Yes.
And then just putting him in a title match with Omos. Like, I just sit there like, I just feel discouraged. I really do feel discouraged. There is no way as to why you're going to tell me that Seth doesn't deserve better. And of course, people are saying that he should leave. Do you really think Seth Rollins would leave? Peeps, it ain't no way that.
No.
The man's loyal. The man is loyal. Loyal. He is much more loyal than half the African American men in America. And that sucks to say because I'm an African American man in America. That should say enough, peeps.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that one.
listen, peeps. I just had to listen. Statistics wise, okay? We live in 2023. Social media disproves a lot. We can we know this. Okay? So I just had to say the man is loyal. That is shocking.
Yes.
Taekwon can advocate for this too. The man is loyal. how in the hell would he not want to leave being in this type of predicament?
Yes.
You're not telling me to stay. I wouldn't stay
Yeah.
either. I mean, for God's sakes, I put my blood, my sweat, and my tears into this. Hey,
Yes.
not even
If
the
if this
littlest.
if this was the territory days, he would have
Oh, he was gone.
left to
Oh, he
see
was
how
gone a
hot
long
he
time.
could get in another territory and then come back being, if he can stay as hot. This is something that Michael Hayes used to always talk about, was the challenge of the territory days was that if you were hot, say you were in a promotion or a territory 2 years or so, 3 years, you get just as hot as you can. Maybe you win the championship in that territory, and then it's like, you know what? I've done it here. Let me try and move on to another territory. Let me see if I can get just as hot in that territory as I was here, and continue to build that brand so that you don't get sick and tired of the same person and run into the same feuds. Like how we said, how many times is Randy Orton going to wrestle John Cena? How many times is Triple H going to wrestle John Cena? How many times is Shawn? It gets to the point where you've seen the same match, but then it's like there's a different slant on it. Like, okay, well, they wrestled each other where one was a face, one is a heel. Then they have the other feud where they flop philosophies. Now the other one that's a heel is a face, and the one that was a face is a heel. And then we flip flop again. Now they're tag team partners, and then they go into it, and then one of them turns on them, and there's that aspect. After a certain amount of time, you've done literally every permutation you can of that same match. At some point, something has to change. And that's why when we see wrestlers come up from like NXT and other promotions, you've got brand new, fresh matches. You've got brand new feuds, maybe a brand new faction that we didn't think could actually happen because it's a new face. Same thing there. Seth has been on his own since the Shield and since literally the Authority broke apart, going on what, 8 years now. It's been about that long since that whole thing dissipated. And he's been on his own. He's been a face, he's been a heel, he's been a face, he's been a heel again. Now he's back to being a face, which kind of goes back into the question from last week where we talked about all these face and heel turns, how it happens with no build. At some point, I think Seth is going to look at this like, okay, where do I go from here? The only thing that I haven't really done is get a main event push at WrestleMania and be the main event of that particular great card. And I think I'm almost
Peeps,
certain he will main event WrestleMania before he retires. It's just a matter of
of
when.
course. Peeps, only in another alternate universe. Let's put it that way. It's not happening anytime soon.
No,
If you were to tell me, that he's doing it next year, I'd be surprised.
yeah,
I put it up on there, but I mean, no. Give it about 3 to 4 years. And I don't think he'd want to wait 3 to 4 years because he's
no,
deserved it from like what
nor
about
should he.
like exactly. So, oh man, we'll just
I mean, he has his own wrestling school. He's training people to be the next Seth Rollins, or in his case, the next Tyler effing Black, as the T-shirt that he's been selling on his at his wrestling school, going back to his Ring of Honor days.
Tyler
So
Black to
yeah,
AEW. Let me stop.
oh,
Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me
don't
stop. Let me
stop it.
stop. Let
Yeah,
me stop. Let me stop.
you're gonna hurt yourself. You're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
hurt yourself.
Look,
You're gonna pull something.
I'm just looking at the comments here, and I've already been generating heat just for the one comment I just made 5 minutes ago. Listen,
Mhm.
peeps, I love garnering the heat. This is amazing, but I mean, yeah, let me not, because next, all the rest of the WWE stands that are watching right now are just gonna go ahead and cower up on me. And look, I love to generate heat, but not that much heat. Please don't.
Yes, heat does burn. Just keep that in mind.
Exactly.
Yes.
But Hot Rod says this: Seth versus Cody at Mania. Phenom says, book it, Hot Rod, for once you come up with something that makes sense. Look,
Hmm.
let me talk to you.
Yeah.
All right. There we go, peeps. If you were to tell me that Seth and Cody is the dynamic for next year, in which they main event together, not only would I be happy because Seth gets his moment, but I would also be happy at the stance that finally we get the dynamic that both of these wrestlers, who both deserve this type of chance and can put on that banger of a match, And the possibility of
Yes.
that match being talked about for years and years,
That could be
generations to
his
come.
that could be his feud. Every wrestler that has a legacy has maybe 2 or 3 feuds that are synonymous with that particular wrestler. For Austin, his signature feud is with The Rock, although he's had other feuds with Shawn Michaels, with Triple H, but his signature feud for him is The Rock. Ric Flair's signature feud is 3. His feud with Sting, his feud with Dusty Rhodes, his feud with Ricky Steamboat. Those are the 3 that are synonymous with Ric Flair in his career, even though he's had a million other feuds. And et cetera, et cetera. You can pick a wrestler. This one had this feud. The tag team, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express,
Exactly.
the Fantastics and the Sheep Herders, and go on and on and on. This has that potential to be, if done the way we see it from the WrestleMania 1 and on, and you can see, I can watch this match over and over because they haven't done it too often and never get tired of it. That could be the feud right there.
Exactly. And I mean, the fact that the chemistry's already been there with the 3 matches that they have put on, and it seems like they're really strict, they're really business when it comes to going ahead and going in like that. You just have to wait and see. Honestly, the Phenom just asked a good question. He says, who's the heel going in? Fair enough.
Mm.
I'd put it as Cody.
Mm.
And I say Cody for this solid reason. If what Peeps has been saying might actually reign true in the sense of Cody becoming champion by SummerSlam, and you have Seth, who wasn't the one that brought this whole dilemma to light, with it being Cody who brought it to light, Seth begins to go ahead and spark his displeasure. So now, in what sense do you have Cody going ahead and facing Brock, kind of going ahead and trying to reach the mountaintop? And then you have Seth just wanting that one moment to shine in that sense. Now, I don't like going ahead and turning backstage feuds to, real life storylines, because the last time we had something like that, someone got screwed, Peeps. So,
Yeah.
what you want me to say about this, but look, honestly, if you have Cody going in as the heel, in which, look, I'm not saying it due to the fact that, Seth is Seth, but if you have Seth as the heel, he's still getting cheered.
Yes.
Cody, you can literally make him be hated. You can literally, listen.
They can do one thing to make him hated. Trot out his wife. That is all you need to do. Bring just the association that the wrestling fans have with Brandy Rhodes, and I hate to say it because she's beautiful. She is, without question, has had a place in this business for so long. But the fans in AEW hated her guts. And the WWE has done a really good job in minimizing the quote-unquote association with Brandy and Cody on camera. Outside of what you saw at WrestleMania, they literally kept them separate. Exactly. If they want to make Cody hated, have the association there. Let Brandy cut promos. Oh, you guys really didn't care about Cody. You guys, all you wanted to do was blah, 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 blah.
Nah, Peeps, don't even have her be called Brandy Rhodes. Bring her back as Eden and have her only recognize Cody. Let that be the end of it. You're good.
Oh man.
Taekwon just brought up something. Taekwon says, make the feud about colorism. What are you gonna do? The same thing that he did with his feud with Anthony Ogogo? Please. Look, I digress.
There we go.
Oh man, we're having a field day today.
That is crazy. We've done 9 today. 9.
Look at this. The Phenom. Stephanie versus Brandy for CO WWE.
You want to know something? I actually like that idea.
Nah, Peeps. If they're listening, calm down.
Yes.
We don't want this as the next.
Now, here's the crazy part.
Peeps, before you go, Peeps. Civil rights promo battle in DC.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Peeps, just go.
Mic drop.
Just go. I'm done.
Yes.
Y'all too much for me today.
I think the fans right now are looking at it in this sense that it really should be Seth on some level finally getting that main event push that we've seen
Of
him get.
course.
Now, he got the main event push as a heel with Triple H as the jewel piece of the Authority 2.0. We saw how that happened, and he got hurt in the process of that whole thing as well. So you come back, the fans want to cheer him, and we said before, the music, the fan participation, and the fact that they could build this as Seth complaining about, oh, the company didn't want me to be the main guy. You know, you've got Roman Reigns, who's the other guy in the Shield that they pushed to the moon, and blah, 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 blah. They can have all of that stuff. Make mention of that to get him over even more so as a face while you're building that up. Cody he can even talk about how Cody wasn't even the first choice to be here. He came from another company and got pushed over me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they can do a number of different directions where this can go, and it would work. The issue is, how far down the road will this happen? And where do they go in the route of Cody? Because as we said before, Cody, I think, is the one that they want to dethrone the champ, if that is indeed what I think they were going to do.
Yeah.
If they have another shiny toy in the toy box that they want to use to dangle in front of everybody to take that championship from Roman, then we're going to be in for a long, long ride, because we're talking about almost 1,000 days as champ. And if they're going to go 1,000 days, they might as well just keep going until they get way ahead of that number.
What's next? San Martino's reign? Please don't give him ideas.
I don't think we're going to see a 7-year championship reign. If that's the case, then we really will see Roman with gray hair wrestling on the moon. So
peeps. They will literally taxidermy Roman Reigns into a robot and literally have him face whoever they have on the roster.
It'll be like Futurama. It'll be Roman Reigns' head to main event WrestleMania. That's what it'll be. His head in a jar.
Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns.
With the tribal chief lay around his neck and wondering why. When are you going to acknowledge me? Bubbles coming out of the liquid that is inside of this, preserving his head. That's what we're headed.
You know what it is? Now. It's now going to be Roman Cyborg RoboCop Reigns. That's who it's. That's the new name. Okay, that's what we're going with. That's.
And they're going to feed him Nuke the rest of the way too.
Definitely. If we're shooting the direction, shoot. Why not? Why not, peeps? End of age. Shoot. Life is a wrestling fan, right, peeps?
Yes.
But peeps, with this, and hoping to see something come down in the future, just to end off this show, okay? Because I know we're gonna get to Backlash sooner or later.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about this match itself? What do you see coming in? What do you see about to happen? Like, do you see Seth losing to Omos? If this is the case, do they go ahead? If Seth loses to Omos, where do we go with this? Do they actually start a full-on feud? And if Seth actually wins, do they release Omos? Because there's no use for him on a roster. If peeps, imagine losing to Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins in the span of a good month. Peeps,
yes.
No way you're telling me you're keeping him. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, let's really be honest. This premium live event is being done after the draft. So who's to say that Seth is even on Raw at the end? They may have the mindset of moving Seth over to SmackDown and building that along, then some interesting things can happen. But if we're going on just this particular match, if Omos wins, this is one telling of how they want to build Omos. Number two, this also kind of shows you that they want to put Seth in his place, quote unquote. Can Seth pull out a 3-star match out of Omos? Probably. I think that the match that Omos had with Braun Strowman that we saw, I believe, in Cardiff, shocked us completely. Like, wow, this was actually not bad. It wasn't awful, you know? But let's see what they do here. Is that going to be the case? No. And I think if we're really going to be serious here, I kind of almost think that this is, miniature punishment for Seth for maybe whatever he's been saying and trying to kind of
Maybe.
calm him down. That's kind of
Maybe.
what this looks like.
Maybe. I really do think that's what they're going with. But a lot of people wouldn't be. A lot of people would have cracked already. They would have talked about their displeasure. It's
Yeah.
man, it would have been too
Yes.
much. Taekwon, Lord have mercy. LGBTQIAO plus, and the O is for Omos. Peeps is homophobic. Peeps, 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 peeps. What are we
We
gonna
got to
do?
get him to start getting those T-shirts out to
You know
sorry
what?
get Omos
Taekwon,
over.
Taekwon, you're something. Peeps, wow. Did we really just get built as homophobic?
Yes,
This is
yes. Those almost sound like fans of Omos, the homophobes, you know.
oh man.
And he comes out in a shirt and he rips the shirt off. He starts pointing at all my homophobes, brother.
At
Yeah.
least it's not. At least it's not like Stacy Keebler channeling her inner test. I love to. Let me stop. Let me stop.
Yes,
I
yes,
digress.
yes,
10th
yes,
one of the day.
yes.
This is where we end Saturday
Uh,
afternoon's main event, ladies and gentlemen.
yes.
This
We
marks
got a
the
double
end.
nickel, folks.
Double nickel. There we go. There we go. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, listen, this marks the end to today's episode of Saturday afternoon's main event. Wow. What an episode.
Yes.
Peeps, what did you think about today, Ben?
We had a lot of fun. Probably more fun than we probably should have had.
I
This
mean,
was fun.
this was a lot. The I
Yes.
digresses to
Yes.
you losing your Wi-Fi in the span of a good couple of minutes to the fans going on a
Yes.
little rant about it. Wow. This is great. This is
Yes.
great.
We literally
Guys,
had everything.
guys, we really did have everything.
Yes.
Wow. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into episode 14 today. We really greatly appreciate all your support and everything that you guys always go ahead and do, from the questions to just tuning in to being so pristine in what you guys do as fans. It's so great to
Yes.
see, and we literally fuel off of
Yes.
that. Like, we
And
appreciate
more importantly, it's genuine. That's the
it.
thing that I like from
Exactly.
all of the people from the comments that call up, but give us their comments and tell us what they want to do, etc., and give us their opinions and their ideas, storyline stuff potentially. It's appreciated more than you know. So
Exactly.
we thank you for that.
Most definitely, most definitely. But guys, with this marking the end, we will go ahead and see you guys next week for episode 15. It's gonna be another quick, easy one. Hopefully, not too much happens. In which
But
we
knowing
would
the
go ahead.
wrestling world, we know something crazy will happen. So
Exactly. So
yes,
we gotta be prepared. But guys,
be
ladies and gentlemen,
prepared. Don't kill our ebullience, please. We need to stay
exactly.
happy until next week.
Well, I mean, we're already at what, peeps? Like, like 40 something.
We are right now at 40. Exactly. 40. Right on the button.
Great.
40.
Great. How nice, guys. 40 odd aggressors. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Look at the phenom. He says, "Please, Peeps is always trying to buy the fans." Oh man, look at that.
Well, at
Lord.
least I'm not doing a DiBiase Jr., okay? So
There
I'm not
we
going to
go.
buy that far.
Everybody's got a price.
Yes.
That's got a price, okay?
Yes.
But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, with that being said, this marks the end of Same. We will see you guys next week here on Saturday afternoon's main event. But with that being said, I, the phenomenal one,
And I, the Peeps Nate, where we came.
we saw.
And in the words of the wise man, Paul Heyman, we conquered.
We conquered. Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, see you next week for episode 15. It's the phenomenal one. It's the Peeps Nate. It's Saturday afternoon's main event. Peace, love, farewell.